Hey everybody, it's Mark Johnson with Cross Country Mortgage, and I know I'm a little bit late today on my TCA Tuesday video, but I want to just take a moment and share with you some of my thoughts about interest rates. I get asked 100 times a day, and I'm sure many other loan officers are in the same boat as I am. What is happening to interest rates, and what are interest rates going to go to? Well, I've got this crystal ball, and if you look very closely, you can see that everything is like upside down right now. It's clear, but it's clear in the fact that like nobody knows what's going on with rates. Honestly, rates could, go back down, but for the next little while, as I talked about last week, interest rates are going to go up. So I'd like to just take a minute and share my screen here with you and just look at a chart that I put on here last week. Excuse me. Oops. It's not sharing. Here we go. So this chart is showing what the average interest rate's been over the last 10 years. And right now we're right in that middle part is that, we see that interest rates are nearing right around 3.78, 3.9% as a national average. You'll see that, interest rates have been going up and down, all the way through, 2015, since, 2010. And during that time we had, homes going down in value, but since then homes have kind of kept on going up. And then, right here we see this is the actual recessionary period that was caused by COVID. And so, I think we need to look at this and say, hey, interest rates really went low during the last couple of years because we were fighting COVID and we were fighting keeping our economy going so that it didn't stall. And that's the way the Federal Reserve did that. I've got one more chart here that I'd like to show you. And that's this chart right here. I think that we need to look at this 20-year average as more of an average of what we should look at as far as interest rates, and probably they're going to go higher than the 4 3/4 average here, just because we are dealing with inflation. And this is the inflation that we talked about last week when inflation hit 18%, when I first got into the business, almost over 40 years ago. So this is where I think rates are going to is the 4 3/4. Right now, we're right here at the 3.8 or 3.9. And I think that this is going to happen probably very easily and maybe even go higher than this by the end of the year. My expectation is that the government, the Federal Reserve, probably won't raise rates as fast right now because of the war in Ukraine and all the other, issues that come around with, raising fuel prices that you were seeing in the pumps. But that inflationary push that's causing things to go, if we're not careful, we're going to be looking at things, like we did back in the 80s, and we're not going to, I don't think the Federal Reserve will let us do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's TCA. If you were to buy a house today, what would it cost you? The average sales price is somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000. I think here in the Salt Lake market. So we picked 600,000. And if you're putting down 20%, you've got excellent credit, you're going to get about 3.99% as the interest rate without any discount points. Your payments are going to be about $29.31. That includes taxes and insurance, and there's no mortgage insurance in there. And then your tax benefit, depending on what tax bracket you are, it's going to be about $395. Chances are you're going to be in a little bit higher tax bracket, I imagine, but somewhere in that range there. And so your cash to close is $126,000. That's with 20% down. Now, if you wait for 6 months to see what happens to interest rates, to see if the Federal Reserve will lower rates, which I don't think they will, you've got two things working against you. You've got, first of all, you're going to have a higher sales price on your home. And the second thing is that I believe interest rates are going to be a little bit higher. They're going to be right around 4.5%. In March, the Federal Reserve was going to raise it 0.5%. I think they're just going to go 1/4%. And then you'll see, maybe another 1/4% coming back, in June, July, somewhere through there. And then by, next time this year, I think we're going to be almost at 5%. We could even go higher than that. I think we might be higher than this, but just for today's little chat here, If you waited 6 months, your house price would likely be $654,000 for the same home. If you wait a year, your house price most likely will be 708 just by waiting a year. And then I want to just show you in a graph form, what that difference in payment is. You're going to have a $420 higher payment just because of interest rate and of course the cost of home going up. But look at what happens if you wait 1 year. Your payments are going to go up $864 a month. And then of course the home price is going to be over $700,000. We are seeing that we're still in the 20% range. I did 18% just for the next year because the problem is there's no inventory here in Salt Lake. I was looking around personally for homes just to see what was available, and there's hardly anything available in the homes that I want to buy. And so, I see firsthand exactly what you're seeing as a consumer. My advice to you is to get pre-approved, make yourself into a cash buyer, because we will give you an approval letter, not just a pre-qualification letter. Now, the difference is if you're an approved borrower, you're like a cash buyer and we will close you in 10 days. That's like a cash buyer. And yet, what we're seeing with cash buyers, people are accepting those offers thinking it's going to close really quickly, but so many of those back out. Whereas if you're like a cash buyer and you show that you are really, really interested in closing on this home, you probably will win the deal. We can help you do that as a lender and with my real estate partners. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to give me a call. Have a great day. We're waiting for the snow to come. I actually went skiing yesterday. It was awesome. I'm waiting to see what it's like on Thursday or Friday. I'll probably take an afternoon and go skiing again too as well. So have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.